Hello guys, and welcome back to Reading Club. Today I'm going to read you the 65 story treehouse, chapter 5 and chapter 6. Chapter 5, Prehistoric Pond Scum. We swirl for a long, long time. Just when I think I can't stand it any longer, the swirling stops. "We're coming in for a landing," says Terry. Wham! The bin lands and we all fall out onto the ground. Wham! "Have we gone back 60.5 years?" I say. Terry looks onto the bin and checks the chronometer. "Oh no," he says. "We've traveled 650 million years back in time." "But I only set it for 6.5 years back," I say. "The inspector must have knocked it when he fell in," says Terry. "It's not my fault," says the inspector. "The chronometer should have a safety guard on it, and a time machine blast-off button without an emergency override directly contravenes Regulation 3, subsection 4.5, paragraph 6, line 22 on the Time Travel Blast-Off Button Act." "I didn't even know there was a Blast-Off Button Act," says Terry. "Oh yes," says the inspector. "It's right here in this book. Rules and Regulations of the World, Past, Present, and Future. I never go anywhere without it." "Hey, Andy," says Terry, "look at this puddle. It's full of pond scum, and one of the pond scum looks just like you." "You're right," I say, "and that one looks just like you." "Who are you calling pond scum, pal?" says Pond Scum Andy. "You're not exactly an oil painting yourself." "Leave him alone," says Pond Scum Terry. "Well," says Terry, "talking pond scum. "That's no ordinary pond scum," says the inspector. "These are the world's earliest simple life forms. We're witnessing the beginnings of life on Earth." "You got that right, pal," says Pond Scum Andy. "But it could be the end for us any time soon." "How come?" says Terry. "Because the only thing keeping our puddle from drying up is that overhanging rock ledge." I look up at the rock ledge Terry is standing on. I see what Pond Scum Andy means. It is the only shade around here, and the sun is really hot. "That's too bad," I say. "It's even worse for you," says Pond Scum Andy, "because if we don't make it, you'll never exist at all. At least we've all had a life, even if we have spent it just floating around in a puddle. I mean, it's better than nothing." "What do you mean we won't exist?" says Terry. "If the life forms like us get burned up," says the Pond Scum Terry, "then complicated life forms like you will never get the chance to evolve." "Oh no," says Terry, looking really worried. "Relax," I say. "They probably make it. They've got shade, but not for long," I say. "This rock ledge is cracking. I think it's about to break." "You idiot, Terry!" screams the pond scum as a large piece of rock breaks off and crashes down into the puddle. "That puddle should have a sun shelter over it," says Inspector Bubblewarp. "It contravenes Regulations 456, Section B, Part 2, on the Prehistoric Sun Shelter Act. I therefore declare this puddle illegal." "What if we built a sun shelter?" I say. "You need a permit for that," says the inspector. "Well, can you give us one?" says Terry. "Well, under the circumstances and given that the future of life on Earth depends on it," says the inspector, "I think I could rush the paper right through." "Great," I say. "Let's get started." Pretty soon we've built the most amazing 65-story prehistoric pond scum puddle sun shelter you've ever seen. Lovely scum, nice new pond. My pond's too small. Mine's too big. There you go, says Terry. That should keep you all sound safe for the next 300 million years or so. Thanks, Terry, says Pond Scum Terry. You're the best. No, Andy is the best, says Pond Scum Andy. That's where you're wrong, says Pond Scum Terry, because Terry's the best. You're the one who's wrong, says Pond Scum Andy, because you don't know what you're talking about. Andy is the best. No contest. The pond scum continue shouting at each other. Terry, Andy, Terry, Andy. Then things really get out of control. Splash, splot, splurt, spash, sploosh, gulp. Let's leave them to it, I say. We better be getting back to the future before this wheelie bin melts in the heat. It's pretty soft already. I hope our prehistoric pond scum ancestors makes it, says Terry. So do I say. But if they don't, and we end up not existing, it'll be all your fault. But we do exist, says the inspector, so they must have made it. Yeah, I say, thanks to me and my great idea about building a pond scum sun shelter. And thanks to me for helping build it, says Terry. And thanks to me for issuing the permit, says the inspector. Speaking of permits, I say, we better be getting to that permit office to apply for our building permit so the treehouse don't have to be demolished. Sure thing, Andy, says Terry. I've set the chronometer for 6.5 years before we left. Hold on, everybody. Chapter 6, Dancing with Dinosaurs. There's a loud splash, and we look out to find ourselves floating in the middle of a vast gray ocean. Well, that's just great. It's a right time, wrong place. Actually, I think you'll find it's the wrong time as well, says Terry. We've traveled to 65 million years ago. Oh dear, says the inspector. 65 million years ago? That's when a giant asteroid smashed into Earth and killed off the dinosaurs. We're in one of the unsafest time ever in the Earth's history. Maybe the asteroid has already hit, says Terry. I can't see any dinosaurs, can you? Nah, I say, but I'd really like to. Let's paddle to shore and see if we can find anything. We paddle as fast as we can, but when we get to shore, all we can see is a bunch of little monkey-like animals playing in a group. Ah, says the inspector. They look like Felicidapis Trixipindus. Are they dinosaurs? Says Terry. No, says the inspector. They're some of the earliest mammals to live on Earth. They're so cute, says Terry. We should take one back for Jill. That's not a good idea, says the inspector. They need to stay here so they can evolve into the ancestors of apes, monkeys, and humans. Monkeys, says Terry. I hate monkeys. Me too, I say. But that doesn't mean we don't share a common ancestor with them. Speak for yourself, says Terry. I don't. I won't be so sure about that, Terry, I say, because that one looks a little bit like you. You're right, says Terry, and that one looks a lot like you. Suddenly, we hear thunderous stomping and snorting noises. The Felicidapis stop playing and look around in alarm. A dinosaur with an enormous nose bursts through the underground and snorts at them. Yikes, I say, that dinosaur has the biggest nose I've ever seen. It's a big nocer. It's a big nose dinosaur, says the inspector. A dinosaur in direct contravention of the World Health Organization's suggested guidelines for healthy nose-to-body ratio. It's famous for its bad temper. The safest way to have around one is to be very quiet and try not to be noticed. It reminds me of someone, says Terry, but I can't think of. This is bad, says the inspector. If the dinosaurs are still around, that means the asteroid that wiped them out hasn't hit yet. Cool, I say. We might get to see an asteroid. If you do, it'll probably be the last thing you ever see, says the inspector. Asteroids are very dangerous, even more dangerous than big nosauruses. Hey, yells Terry, as the big nosaurus advances on the Felicidefus. Get away from them, you big bully. At the sound of Terry's voice, the big nosaurus turns toward us. It stares and roars. Good one, Terry, I say, backing away. Yeah, good one, Terry, says the inspector. The big Nosaurosaur roars again and paws the ground. It looks like Kevin the mechanical bull when he gets mad, says Terry. I think it's getting ready to charge. If only we had a brightly colored cape, I say. Maybe you could distract it. A brightly colored safety vest might work, says Terry. Don't be stupid, I say. Where are we going to get a brightly colored safety vest from? From the inspector, says Terry. Well, I'm not sure about that, says the inspector. Regulation 6 of the Brightly Colored Safety Vest Act states that a building permit inspector should wear a brightly colored safety vest at all times. But it's 65 million years before that law was even invented, I say. So technically, you won't be breaking it. Says the inspector. Technically, you might be right. And I guess you will be using it in the interests of safety. He hands me the vest. I hold the vest out to the side, matador style, and wave it at the big nosaurus. It snores in rage, lowers its massive nose, and charges at me. I spin at the last moment, and it rushes past. Olay, I say. It turns and charges again. Once more, I step aside. Olay, I say. Each time it runs at me and misses. It gets madder, and its nose gets bigger and redder. Watch out, says Terry. I think it's going to blow. What's that? I say. It's going to blow its nose? No, says Terry. Its nose is going to explode. Why, an explosion that big could wipe out all life on Earth, says the inspector. Could it be possible that this is how the dinosaurs disappeared? Who cares, I say. It's going to be how we disappear if we don't take cover. The Felicidefus, that looks like Terry, starts biting the leg of his trousers. Hey, says Terry, quit that. Then the one who looks like me starts tugging at my trousers. What's wrong with you stupid things, I say. Can't you see we've got a serious problem here? I think they're trying to help us, says the inspector, who has one tugging at his trousers as well. They're pulling at us in the direction of that burrow. He's right, says Terry, and we don't have a moment to lose. I've never seen a nose so ready to blow. We quickly follow the Felicidefus to their burrow. Terry stops and bends over. What are you doing, I say. I'm just saving a poor little helpless ant, he says. Well, hurry up, I say. Terry scoops up the ant and puts it in his pocket. The entrance to the burrow is small, but with a bit of pushing and shoving, we all manage to get safely inside. Cool burrow, says Terry. And very safe, says the inspector. You can't beat a good underground bunker. And I see you have food supplies for some time. What sort of food, says Terry? It looks like dragonflies, fern fronds, and a primitive form of marshmallow. Prehistoric marshmallows, says Terry, shoving a handful into his mouth and then immediately spitting them out. That's not marshmallow, that's fungus. What do you think marshmallows are made of, says the inspector. But before Terry can register the full horror of what the inspector had just said, there is a huge explosion above us. we emerge from the burrow, there is an enormous smoking crater where the big nursery had been. Everything is covered in thick green goo, and there are piles of dead dinosaurs everywhere. Oh, I say, let's get out of here. What about the Felicia Duffys? Says Terry. They saved our lives, and we saved theirs. I say, fair trade. But the prehistoric world is so dangerous, says Terry. Can we take them with us? No, I already explained that, says the inspector. If we took them with us, they won't evolve, and we won't be able to exist. But just to be on the safe side, and if it makes you feel better, I'll give them all a bit of extra protection. The inspector gets out his roll of bubble warp and makes little bubble warp suits for all the Felicia Duffys. There, he says when he's finished. That should keep them out of trouble for the next 65 million years or so. I've made a few adjustments to the chronometer, says Terry, and I'm certain that this time we'll arrive at the building permit after 6.5 years before we build our treehouse. I hope you're right, says the inspector as we climb into the bin and close the lid. Me too, I say. I think I've had enough history for one day. Okay, says Terry. Here we go! Well, that's the end of this channel. If you liked it, please subscribe, read and clap, and click many likes. Thank you again, and I'll see you tomorrow. Bye.